Please introduce yourself and your research.
Yes, I am an emeritus professor in the Helsinki University Hospital and Helsinki University. And what we have been doing in research especially is the comparison of Finnish and Russian Karelia allergies and asthma. That is kind of a living laboratory because the lifestyle and environment are quite different, and we have found very interesting observations there that the allergies are much more common on the Finnish side, and we have explored the reasons for that. And then I have been running also as a chairman the so-called Finnish allergy program from 2008 and 2018, where we really changed our thinking from avoidance strategy to tolerance strategy, both in immune tolerance and psychological tolerance. We do have a saying in Finnish that if you run a wolf, you meet a bear, so we stopped running.
Fantastic. You gave a talk about today about diversity hypothesis. How can climate change and biodiversity loss connected to allergic diseases?
Yes, it's truly important to understand that allergies are environmental diseases. You of course see that in those who are sensitized and get symptoms from pollens. But now we understand that the grand challenges the human race is really facing, the climate change. I don't like that word so much because what is happening really is global warming. The planet is becoming hot, and then the biodiversity loss, which according to the ecologists is really the major issue, even a bigger issue than the global warming. Nevertheless, all these grand challenges, they are interconnected, and there is only one species and one species only, man, who is responsible of this because of population growth, rapid urbanization, which changes the environment and our lifestyle. And we think that there is also a lot of evidence now showing that the biodiversity is not only concerning the macro world, the tigers and the whales and the rhinos, but it's also concerning the micro world, the microbes around us and on us and in us. And we are speaking about human microbiome, which mediates the crosstalk between the environmental genome and the human genome. And the problem seems to be that the human microbiome is becoming less diverse because we are less connected to natural environment. And in practice, this means what we eat, what we drink, what we touch, what we breathe, they all have changed in the urban surrounding.
And how can we prevent or reduce the effects of decreased microbiotica?
Yeah, this is altogether quite new thinking. But I used to say that we are not going back to the life 100 years ago, or we are not going back to the countryside, or we are not going back to the rural areas in big numbers. But what we can do is to take the countryside and some of the lifestyle, the ancient lifestyle, with us to the modern cities. And that very shortly means make the cities greener and eat something green, breathe something green, touch something green.
And what are the European regulations that should be implemented?
Yeah, this thinking means really that the whole city planning should change. It must have an effect on city planning, on traffic, on energy production, on production of food. We should prefer food which is produced near us, and we should even grow something fresh ourselves. And that means that the whole idea what a city should look like and what kind of a lifestyle it should support, it should change.
And what are the biggest advances in the field that would allow to minimize the impact of decreased biodiversity in allergic diseases?
Well, we have always been thinking about risk factors, so that this is a risk factor to have this and this and this symptom. But now when we think about the allergy and asthma epidemic, and not only that, but also the so-called non-communicable diseases, and now we are speaking about obesity or diabetes or inflammatory bowel diseases, even Alzheimer's disease. It's not so much question of these new risk factors, but it is a question of losing the protective factors. And these protective factors, they come from the soil and natural waters, and they are mostly microbial in origin. And that means that when we understand this, we can, by the means of telling people and giving guidance for the people how they can increase the diversity of their own microbiome and get better so-called immune regulation, which means that our immunity would be ready to make a difference between danger and non-danger, and a difference between self and non-self, because that is the basics of health.